I had learned this topic just yesterday, and today I'm not able to recall it. How to memorize this long answer? I'm stuck here and I don't know what to write further in this essay. As a student, do you feel similar difficulties? Like retaining concepts, framing answers, learning tough subjects? Then watch this video because today we have Dr. Sonia Achantani joining us on Edu Talks. Dr. Sonia is a certified career counselor who closely works with students and teachers. In this video, she will be guiding us on improving learning techniques. So let's get started.
Hi, Sonia. It's a pleasure to have you here today and welcome to Edu Talks.
Hi Devanshi, thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure totally for me also to be on your platform.
We'll have different kind of students. Some students will find it very easy to learn whatever you teach them. But then there will be students who find it really challenging, maybe in all the subjects or any particular subjects. So what is your view on that? Why some students find it difficult when it comes to learning? Maybe for some it would be with the languages or for some it's maths. So what things make it difficult for them?
Okay, see Devanshi, if you are, as we are from the education field, we know that every student is unique, and in counseling also, this is what we are taught. Every child is unique. Every child has his own way of learning. Every child has his own potential, capabilities, abilities, strengths, and different modes and ways of learning and grasping things. Today, how I can do it, maybe you will not be able to do it. Even my kids might not be able to do it. They are also very different from me. So we need to really understand the basics where the children can learn. How can they learn? It is more important to teach them how they can learn other than thinking about what they can learn.
Right.
Got it? What they can learn, there are so many books, there's everything available. But more important is how will they learn it? How will they grasp the same knowledge? How will they implement it if they have understood the knowledge? Thing is, they need to understand first. After they understand, only they will implement it. Only after they implement, they will have a growth or a development, right? So the basic thing is they need to understand it. So to make them understand, we have to go to the root level where how we can teach them in a way which is very friendly to them, something that it is easy for them to understand, to grasp that knowledge. So that is more important. And I think it's nice that NEP is coming up with this. NEP is
Right.
coming out with a solution of introducing multiple intelligences and various learning styles for children. So when we're talking about multiple intelligences, you must be aware that there are 8 multiple intelligences. And we all have it. It's a basic ingredient, all of us have it. Only thing is, some of them are very prominent in us, some of them are very less in us. Some are micro, some are macro for us. You know, so based on that, we can always do it. See, if you divide your syllabus into different activities based on the multiple intelligences or the various learning styles we have, it is easy for a teacher to understand how children grasp. There could be some children who will grasp knowledge with good language skills. There would be some who will be very good with numerical. You know, there would be some who would, reframe things with artistic ways. So there are different modes how they do it. So we need to understand which group of children, which segment understands where. So if we divide the syllabus in different activities, everybody will get a chance and it will get easy for them to learn.
Exactly. I
So
totally agree with your point that, rather than following the same system with everyone, we need to identify their interest. And accordingly, if we go, like if they're able to learn through practicals or through other activities, it would be helpful for them.
right now, what is happening in schools, the teachers are coming with a sword on their head. I need to complete the syllabus. This is my deadline. These are the 5 classes I have. Don't make any noise. Don't ask any questions. She goes on, barges into the class, gives them a syllabus. That is it. Without even thinking whether they would have understood it, whether they were able to cope up with the speed she was teaching. See, there out of 30 students, there must be hardly 5 to 7 students who would cope up with her speed because they must be God gifted. that talented that they can cope up with it. But what about the remaining 23 in class? You need to understand them also. Everybody is not of the same caliber. Maybe that subject is not of that child's interest. So you need to take a way out how you can make it interesting for the child. You need to connect it that way also.
Sadly, I have many teacher friends. Sometimes they tell me that we want to teach with the deaf and all, but the kind of system is there where we are not able to provide that much time to each and every students. So as you said that yes, it should start from the basics and the depth where teacher should be able to give them the proper time and all. Now, Sonia, one more thing, what happens with some students, we may follow different styles of learning and everything, but they might not have some inclination towards that subject. Like there would be some students who, no matter whatever way you try with them, they'll not find that subject interesting. Let's say it maths. We say they've been numerically challenged or something, they find it really, really difficult. So in that case, how can we help these children?
Okay. Now, see, when you are talking about a subject like maths or physics or even chemistry for that matter, where there is lots of numericals involved, there are lots of formulas to be remembered. And believe me, I was also not a student who liked maths, physics, chemistry. I was not that student. I used to do chemistry because chemistry teacher was my favorite teacher.
Okay.
So when she used to tell me to do it, I could not say no to her. So, sometimes that teacher makes the subject interesting for you. So if you see that, you are among the favorites of the student, but the subject that you're teaching is not that favorite to the students, or the students are not that inclined to it, you need to come out with interesting ways. Even in maths, you can have role plays with numericals thing, do it in a form of game with them. Give them something to make topics interesting, give them activities to do. So you can do it, but this is totally on a teacher how interesting she can make it. Now what happens when I used to teach in school and even in my coaching classes, and there were and most of the children did not like the subject I used to teach, that is SST.
Okay.
They find it very boring because they sleep off half the time, doze off. Okay, but then I used to make it interesting with telling them those things in the form of stories. you know like if there is Prithviraj Chauhan, I used to narrate Prithviraj Chauhan and Sayukta's Swayamvar to them, to make it more interesting and bubbly to it. Add certain things to it. Then when you have to talk about the revolution or the independence part of it, talk about Bhagat Singh, you can relate it to the movies that it's been picturized on Bhagat Singh. Find out certain things that could interest them. Relate that thing to your subject. Get examples to them, live examples on it. So when the children are connecting those things, no, it gets easy. Start with easy topics, certain things that the children easily do it. So slowly what will happen, they will develop one sense, okay, I can do this subject, I can crack this subject. The only thing you need to tell them is, fine beta, you need to do this subject because it is compulsory, so let's make it interesting. You and me both will work for it. So if you can do that, sure, he'll get through at least till the 10th he will go through, because these are compulsory subjects for us.
I can totally relate to this. So, Sonia, I'll share my own experience. I struggled a lot with mathematics when I was in school, and I was very good with all other subjects, maybe scoring 85, 95 plus. But in my board exams also, I scored somewhere around 70 in 10th. But in 12th, I got wonderful teachers and I scored 95 plus in my 12th board exams. So it depends very much on the teacher also and what kind of teaching methods they are following. So that's the correct thing that you have said, that we need to be innovative with our methods. Now, the
Yes.
next, I want to ask you, Sonia, that sometimes, I have seen students that they are working really, really hard. Even though they are finding it difficult, they are spending hours together in learning that subject. Or even you can feel that, yes, they are understanding, they are learning, they are writing. But when it comes to getting marks, it's never visible there. Because I have my students where I have seen that, for so many months he has been working so hard, but it's never visible in his result. So, what is your opinion on it, that how can we work on this thing?
See, there are a few different perspectives of this. Now, there is a student who is working very hard. I have my own student who had been very hardworking. Okay. She used to put day and night into it dedicatedly. She used to do written revision, everything. But it used to not show in her paper. Why? Because she used to go blank with her paper. See, this is one reason. Sometimes when you see the questions, you go blank with them. That is exam phobia, what she had. So this is one reason why it does not show in the scores that you have during the exams. Second is, you are prepared, but you don't know how to put it as a presentation in your paper. Okay. So that is another thing. Now I'll give you a live example of this. My son is in 11th standard. He is damn good with his subjects. Too good for too good. He is into humanities. But he lost his marks in history only because he did not frame the answers as per the questions were asked. He knew it. He answered them. When you ask him, he knows it. But why didn't he score it? Because he did not put it in the right way. The presentation was not right. So all that matters. Now, next test, he understood where he went wrong. He did that right. And he scored well. So, you need to understand the tact of how you have to put up your concept also. It's not that you only have to learn it, but when you have to put it in paper, what should be there, what should be visible to score marks also should be known to you.
Exactly, that is also a part of learning, because I
Yes.
I have seen students, they have so many things in their minds, but the moment it comes, you have to write it on the paper. All these thoughts will go haywire, and then they don't know what they are writing and where they are writing. So you mentioned one very important point here. Now, Sonia,
Apart from this,
yeah.
I will add up one more thing. Sometimes, the atmosphere in the house or the school where the child is not comfortable, it could be anything. It could be the home or the school with the teachers, a conflict, or with some students, peer conflicts, teacher conflicts, subject conflict. At that time, also, the child is a little disturbed. So when he's learning, he's grasping, he knows everything. But while he's writing his paper, no, something is distracting him. Those things must be disturbing behind his mind. So when he's putting it, it's not coming out with 100%. So these are psychological reasons also, you can think about.
Yeah, definitely. And many times it happens, Sonia, that they have learned many things, but they find it difficult to retain that knowledge. Today they have learned something, and next day when you ask, they may feel totally blank, as if they have forgotten it. So what's the solution for that? How students can learn to retain the things which they have learned?
In order to retain what you've learned, in order to retain the knowledge that you have, you want to store it for lifelong, the only suggestion I would give is don't do rote learning. Because when you are mugging up something, it's a temporary learning that you do. You remember it for a phase. This is one of the reasons why children can't score, because I had a student who used to mug up things from the page and the word number and the particular line where that word comes. And when he used to answer in revision, no, and he forgets one word, he forgets everything. You got it? So when you forget one word and you forget everything, it's gone. It's gone for a toss. You know what he used to tell? मैम वो एक word बता दो ना, seventh line में है ना, fourth word है, वो बता दो, वो word बता दो कि तो I will answer it.
That is very
You
common with the students, they
yes,
struggle for that one particular word, and sometimes,
yes.
we'll be shocked to see how much they have memorized like this.
So that is one thing why they cannot retain the knowledge, because it's temporary based. They marked it up for exam. And believe me, when you're doing it only textual knowledge, it is not going to help you. You need to explore the topic for yourself. You have to have collaborative learning, you know so you will remember the concept. Now see, when you're talking about different ways of learning, this could be one more thing where the teacher assigns small topics to children in class. One chapter divided into 6 topics. Each child is asked to make 4 to 5 slides on the topic he's given. Don't you think if he's exploring and reading the textbook, looking out for some more material on that particular topic from Google or anywhere, Wikipedia, anywhere, for example, any reference he uses, it could be another textbook also. What happens over there is he's brainstorming himself, and he is exploring that particular concept on his own level, and he's making that PPT. Believe me, when you ask that particular chunk, what he was there to explain in the class, that will be the only part he'll remember the best. Why? Because it was his work, he did it, and he did it the way he wanted to do it.
We need to
So
give them independence.
yes, we need to give them a space to explore things. So if this can be adopted, peer connections will also be better. And sometimes, a topic which a teacher is not able to connect well to the student, two students can connect it to each other in collaborative learning. So that is also very important.
And that is the reason I've always observed, in chapters and all where they have skit or drama kind of performances, students enjoy it really. Like, okay, these are the chapters we would love to learn because they're involving themselves there.
Yes, and examples, when you relate it to real examples, no, like the cartoon movies or the movies, to Bollywood examples or some TV shows or programs, the children are able to connect to that, because that is something that is there in their mind. Entertainment, whatever it is, example, they can connect it. So when they connect their concept to that particular, okay, I'm learning this part, I'm learning history, I'm learning about independence. Yes, ma'am had mentioned about Mahatma Gandhi, he had done this thing, Dandi March and other things. He will recollect all that because he's connecting it to the examples given in class or by the teacher. So when they correlate it, they can retain the knowledge back. So this is very important. Other than going into only the textbook that you are assigned to, go ahead and do something more for them. Take a milestone out of it, Go 1 mile ahead and give them something new to do it.
Just few days back, I was interviewing a student who is appearing for his grade 10 exam, and he gave one wonderful statement. He said that I struggle a lot with Hindi because they're asking me to review somebody else's thoughts. Why I should learn that what is his thought and what is he thinking, rather than they should allow me to express my thoughts. So I feel somewhere education system should also change, where rather than writing just a direct question answer, they should get space to understand it and comprehend it in their own way.
It's taken 30 years for us to bring NEP, okay?
Yeah.
The entire education system for 30 years was going on in the same old traditional pattern. It took 30 years. So changes are coming, but it will take some time, but there is lots and lots of changes that we've seen in the last 2 years. The entire way of learning and taking knowledge has changed for children and teachers. So what you're talking about also, yes, that will also come. There will be a day when these type of questions also will be asked, but it takes time to change the entire thing, the entire system, because it's so used to this long process. It will come in different phases.
Now, Sonia, here I want to talk about something about students' mindset also. These days, if you ask them to do any creative writing or essay writing or something, their first questions would be how many lines or how many pages. Pages, so hardly they will ask. The first question would be how many lines. Like today, my son has his Hindi exam, and yesterday I was telling him that, see, you have said all these things, so you can write this 10 or 12 lines. He said, no, in paper we get only 6 lines. So I'll write only in this 6 lines. Even with my students, this much is enough, this much is enough. So why students behave this way? Why they don't want to elaborate? Why they don't want to think and write? What is stopping them here?
Problem is, they only do creative writing as a question that comes in exam. Okay. It is not out of the flair they want to do it. It's very few students who really enjoy writing. But I think it should be made a compulsory thing to give them one topic every day. And, taking part in essay competitions, allocations, debates, because they'll have to think about it. So when they do say creative skills also be there for the students, not only during exams. Just 1 week before the exam, if the English teacher tells them, I'm giving you 3 topics to write an essay, that will not enhance their creative skills. But if you're giving them assignments in the same way, frequently, every Saturday, Sunday, they have 2 topics and they have to hand it over on Monday. So slowly they will develop of thinking that, and it will come in a flow for them. So they need to practice it.
Yeah, I totally agree on this. We, as a teacher, we also need to be creative with what kind of assignments we are giving, because I've observed them, when I give different objects to my students and I tell them, you observe this and write about it, they'll find it interesting. or just tell them you go and look out of the balcony and see what all things you're observing and you write about it, then they'll be able to write it. But the moment the topic comes, and you mentioned one very important point, that we are doing it like exam centric work, so that is the reason they are lagging here and they're not able to do these things.
I remember our English teacher during our summer vacation. No, every time she used to, the first day we used to go to school, she used to say, "Today I'm not going to take up anything. You are going to write how you spent 1.5 months of your holidays to me." And at that time, we used to find it very boring. What is she asking us to do? But now I recollect it. It was something really useful she made us do, because she kept us in that mode of writing, and recollecting the complete journey of 1.5 months we used to write. Then she used to come out with such topics and give it to us. At that time, we used to find it very tedious. But today, when I see, it was like a blessing in disguise for us.
Yeah, Sonia, that's something I want to ask you here is that, as you said that your son is studying humanities, what is my general observation? Even I studied my mass comm and journalism because I wanted to study something where I can apply my own thoughts. I don't have to memorize somebody else's thoughts and write. But what we are seeing today is mainly parents and children, they're more focused into maths and science. I live in Bangalore, and here most of the parents are engineers, and that's what I have seen. They think language is something which is of not at all use, but it has been imposed on them because it's a subject and they have to learn them. But the focus should be on maths and science. If you are good at this subject, that means you're doing good in your career, but this other subjects are of no use. So what will you say on this? Why this mindset is there, and how can we change it?
See, I'll tell you what happens is the students and parents, what parents think is becoming an engineer or a doctor is something a very well secured future for our children. A career where, our children will have a fixed amount of pay and everything. They don't have to worry about it. But they lose on the basics of language also. Now, see, when they are in 10th, 11th, 12th, they focus on maths and science. What happens to the other subjects like SST and English, Hindi? It's kept aside. When do you study it? Only during exams. And I'll tell you what, if you see, I've found so many engineers, I've found so many technical experts. When they put things in words, they make such grammatical disaster. You won't know, what to tell them at that time, because they have degrees from IIT, but the basic English is not there.
They might have the
A post
subject
of
knowledge, but
principal.
yeah.
Yeah, you are on such high post, but still, if you don't have a proper flow of language, how will you communicate to others? How will you put it forward? If you are attending a seminar or a conference, you need to represent some organization or even yourself, your startup. How will you do it if there is no communication? So it is very important that they need to understand that communication skills are equally important. Language is one integral part of whatever degree you take for that matter.
Exactly. Otherwise, you won't be able to express your work. You might be having your subject knowledge and everything, but then you don't know how to express it or how to show it to others. Yeah, so you said it aptly. And Sonia, another thing I want to ask you, like this time, exams are just around the corner, and for 10th and 12th, it already has started. What exam paper writing tips would you like to share with the students? Like, what all things they need to keep in mind while writing papers?
See, you need to be very relaxed while you're writing your paper. And if it's boards, they don't allow you water, but they do serve you water inside. So in case if you feel that you're getting a little anxiety or you're feeling a little pressure, you can ask for a glass of water, drink water, just close your eyes for a few seconds, calm yourself down and start with your paper. And they could be like, just glance through the paper. You get reading time in your paper, right? Glance through the questions and first tick those questions with pencil, or keep it in mind. Okay, these are the questions I know very well. Answer those sections first, so that you have built a motivation for yourself, and slowly the flow will start off. You really need to calm and relax yourself, and please do not do any kind of ratification or mugging up in the last minute. It will not help you at all. At least half an hour before you enter your examination hall, just calm yourself. You could talk to your friends, have a little joke, do a little laughter, because that will relax you, and then go in for your exam. And if you have any doubts, don't clear it out at that time, because that will confuse you more. In case if you have certain things in mind and you think, oh yes, I'll meet my friend in the morning, I'll ask them. Each one will give their own bites and bits to you, and you'll get even more confused. So stay composed with the knowledge you have. Whatever you know, answer that and come. Believe me, that is going to really help you. It's a best remedy. Calm yourself, keep yourself composed, and with a relaxed mind, just do. It's just like another day, nothing else. How you write notes in the class is just like answering the question paper over there. So why fear it?
No, Sonia, in that case, how to deal with the results? Because it happens with many children that, they have given their best, they have tried their best, but when the result comes, it may not be that great, and then they compare themselves with others. Or even sometimes parents do that, they compare siblings and all. So, how to deal with this situation? I'm not asking from any parent's perspective or something, but as a student, if the student is in this kind of situation, how he or she can deal with it?
First of all, we should all remember that we all are different from each other. Even our five fingers are not the same, right? So everybody's capabilities is different. Maybe your friend scored more than you. That was his day. It was not your day. The best example I give to all my students when they come out like this, I say a Dhoni and a Kohli never score century in every match they play. They too have bad days. There is a day when they don't score or score less. But then that doesn't mean that one game can decide they are not potential enough to do something or prove their capabilities. You know? So exam is also similarly the same way. You gave a performance, maybe it was not up to the mark, you could not score it. No issues. There would be another exam. Life does not stop there. Well, prepare yourself for the other one. See where you went wrong. I gave you an example of my son. If my son had to sit down thinking, I cannot score in history, I have scored less, I don't want to do history, what would happen? He would never be able to score it, right? But he analyzed it, he saw where he went wrong, he bettered his performance. Today he's doing it much better. So this is how it is. You need to bounce back. 2 games Kohli doesn't play well, third game he scores a century. Why? Because he's worked on the weaknesses that he's faced. He saw where he went wrong, he corrected those measures, and he played back. So this is what happens with us also in life.
So definitely learning is an ongoing process. One or two result cannot decide like this is your knowledge or something. Now, Sonia, next I want to ask you that, what I have observed is when we were students, I don't remember that we had any kind of pressure or monitoring on us as far as our studies are concerned. Sometimes my father didn't even remember that in which grade I was studying and all. But me and my brother, we did really well. We never need somebody to monitor us whether we are doing it or not. But what I'm observing today is, I don't know whether it is good or bad, but we parents are so much involved with our children, what they are doing, whether they're doing it correctly or not, or we are continuously monitoring them, correcting them. So, how do you see this? Is it affecting them adversely, or is it creating unnecessary pressure on them?
Yes, of course, it creates a pressure on them because they are not able to breathe. They don't have a space to breathe in. Every time there is somebody sitting on their head, study, 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 study. What are you doing? Why did you do this? How did you do this? How much did you do? When will you finish this? If you keep doing this, the interest that he has also will be lost. Give them that space. Have trust in them at least, Make them believe that you trust in them. If you trust in them, they will never break your trust. At least try doing that once. Give them that space. Let them learn on their own. Let them stand on their own feet. Go appear for one exam. What will happen? They'll score a little less. Then you can sit down and tell them, see, this is where you went wrong. I observed this. So if you can correct this, you can better it next time. Believe me, they will love to follow it. Why? Because they were given that trust, they were given that space to explore themselves. And today they are only being guided, they're not being questioned on it. So that is more important, even effective parenting is very important. You really
Exactly.
need to understand.
Because it's really sad to see. I have seen students who are in 7th and 8th grade. They are going to their school at 7 o'clock in the morning, coming back at 3 o'clock. Then they have some activities or tuitions and all, and then again they are studying till 11 o'clock. And I feel that this is a एकदम मतलब अत्याचार हो गया है इनके ऊपर. This is really cruelty. Like, this is not the student life should be. But sadly, this is the reality where they are studying like this, and I don't know what learning they are going to get from this. But
But don't you think this will only make them even more, depressed, and
true.
they will forget what they have to do. They will not perform the way. See, when you're going on and on and on with the same kind of things, it will affect your final result. We usually tell children not that don't eat anything in excess. It is harmful for health because it causes indigestion, it causes stomach upset, so don't do that, it's not good for health. Same thing, if you're doing excess of studies also, it's going to hamper your brain, it's going to hamper your life, because when you really want to perform for the results, you will not be able to, because your mind is already tired. You're already fed up of that particular topics. So when you have to answer them, no, it's very boring for you. So this is one other reason why children don't score even after putting hard work. So if they are studying and putting hard work only with the pressure of parents and teachers, then the results are not shown.
We are only seeing the quantity, but we are not able to see the
We are
quality
not
here.
we are not focusing on the quality. We are only believing in those numbers which come on the paper, reflect on the paper. So we need to understand that that number is not important. The quality of the paper that a child has written is more important.
Definitely. So, Sonia, as an expert, the idea behind coming up with this program is to, help the students in getting motivated. So, what message would you like to give this to our children so they feel motivated, they get some positive thoughts, and they feel appreciated? So, what would you like to tell them?
Well, as children are beginning with their exams, I would only like to tell them is to keep composed mind and calm mind, relax themselves. Secondly, don't study at a stretch. 3, 3, 4 hours at a stretch is not good. Your brain also needs rest. So what you can do is study for 2 hours, take a short break. You could do any activity that is good for you. Your hobby could be music, listening to songs, singing songs, talking to a friend, having some, sharing some jokes, or chatting with your friends on WhatsApp, having some nice discussion with your parents or your siblings. Whatever relaxes you, do that particular thing. No issues in it. That 15 minutes, just relax yourself. Could be you love eating, go ahead and have a nice treat for yourself. So that 15 minutes, when you relax your mind, again when you go back, you're fresh. And when you go, just take 10 minutes to just recap what you had done, and then start with the next. So that will help you. And secondly, when you're even doing your revisions, no, I usually recommend children to do written revision with pointers. You have one heading, take 6 subheadings, make pointers on it. So, and then if you have a bulletin board in front of your study, pin them up over there. So, last minute glances, you can just give on those pointers. So, when you go through the pointers, it's easy for you to remember and frame your answer in full sentences over there. Same thing, there are students even who, get very scared or feel an anxiety of answering long questions. The minute they see an 8 marks or a 10 marks question or a 5 marks question, even they go blank because they don't know how to answer it, or they would have learned it but they won't remember it. Sometimes learning also gets very difficult for them, that long answers. Best is divide them into small points. you know when you divide them into small points, the whole paragraph can be divided into 8 to 10 pointers. When you know you've learned the pointers, club it back into a paragraph and put it. it will really help you. See, you can answer your questions in pointers even with SST, with science, everywhere pointers will do. You don't have to worry about it. Only in language, pointers don't do, so club it back into paragraphs.
Sonia, thank you so much for all this information. The wonderful tips what you have shared with us today will definitely help the students. And I'll try my best to reach out to more and more students so they can get benefited through this. And I'll also mention your details, contact numbers, everything in the comment section. So in case they have any queries, any detailed queries, so they can get back to you. And thank you so much once again. Thank you for joining us here today and helping students.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you.